Have you guys ever just watched a clutch from a pro and thought, how the hell did he pull that off? Well, I have. That's why I want to talk about clutching today. And clutching is one of the most integral parts of Valorant. It's one of the things that everyone wants to do right, but is really hard to master. When you're clutching, the first thing you need to make sure that's good is your mentality. If you go into a clutch thinking, oh my god, there's 4 people watching me, what the fuck do I have to do now? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. If you start panicking like right off the bat, you're doing something wrong. Because you have to be calm in your head so you can think about your next move. I know this is a very simple step and probably really hard for some people, but it is an important step to take first. When a clutch begins, when you just realized I'm in a 1v3, oh shit, the first thing you want to be thinking about is who is going to be peeking me first. You have to be able to predict where the enemy is going to be, which is really hard to get right, but that comes with practice. And how I find out who is going to peek me first, I have to make sure I know all the information. So everything my team has called out, that needs to be in the back of my head. Next up, I need to listen for footsteps, because footsteps are really important in a clutch. If you don't hear footsteps, then it gets really hard. So that's why Fate is kind of a bitch. Then, next, moving on, you will be worrying about your positioning. And as you know, you have just predicted where you think the first person is going to peek from. So position yourself so that you can only be shot from the place that you want to be peeking first. Remember, clutching is just isolating 1v1 so that you can win a 1v3 without actually fighting 2 people at the same time. If you can master that by using utility or positioning, then you will easily win these clutches and other things that you get faced with. So let's just imagine for now that I've just planted the bomb, it's down right here, and I'm in a 1v3. And what I just heard was someone running up from CT, and I know that there's another person walking back here in main. The first thing that I will be doing is positioning myself like this. And that seems pretty weird because I'm exposing myself to this side of the map with my entire body, which usually you don't really want to do. Usually, if you knew that there was one person peeking from here, you would be playing here, because this that way there's only one part of your body visible, only the upper half. But in this situation, where you know that someone is going to come from lane here eventually, but you know that this person is going to peek first, the first thing you want to do is position yourself so that even if this person peeks, he's not going to see you, and he's not going to be able to shoot back at you. So here, this person peeks, I tap him in the head, then I can focus on the other one. I swing out like this, maybe use a flash, and blind him. And then I tap him, and that way I've just isolated 2 1v1s like you would in an actual match if you needed to really do this. The same thing goes for any other situation. If I were playing back here, I would be peeking like this. You just don't want to be seen from 2 sides at the same time. So similarly, if there's 2 people coming down here, peek like this so that the person who's on the wide side is the only person that sees you. Because if you swing out like this, there's 2 people here, like there and there, then you're gonna get peeked by 2 people at the same time. So you have to worry about how you're peeking as well. If you're overextending like this, you're just gonna die. There's no going around it. And, you know, having the spike down isn't the only situation in a clutch where you have to be isolating 1v1s, because you have the spike, but you haven't planted it yet. And in that situation, you have to be really methodical. Because in essence, clutching is just finding mistakes the enemy is making. So if you are just going around the map, clearing every corner, you're not going to make mistakes yourself. But you know that the enemy is going to make mistakes. They have more people, so the chance is higher that they make mistakes, especially because they also have to factor in team play and other things like that. They maybe don't play crossfires somewhere, and you can use that to your advantage during your clutch. Or there's one person in the open using an ability and you tap him, and then you're in a 1v2. You've just made it a lot easier for yourself. Stuff like this. But as you clear the corners, try and be as far away from the wall as possible, because that's better. And slowly clear every place this person could be. Really slowly just clear everything. And then move back into here. And make sure that you've cleared every corner systematically and made sure you're not overextending like in the other clutch that I just showed you. You don't want to be overextending at all during a clutch. Be as methodical as you can. If you watch pros play, you're going to see the same thing where they're just taking it so slow because they just don't want to make a mistake. And especially in such a high pressure situation, they're going to need something like that. Another situation that's really hard is when you have to retake solo. And in a lot of cases, I would just recommend saving here because it's really hard to dismantle crossfires that people have set up around the site. But if you're in low elo or something like silver and plat, these people are going to still make mistakes. They're still gonna be peeking stupid angles. So in these ranks, especially, I would wait for aggression first. Because they have planted the bomb, the logical thing to assume is that they're going to be defending and watching the bomb. But in a lot of cases, they get overconfident and they start peeking you. So initially, wait for someone to peek you. And I know that sounds pretty weird because the time is ticking down. And yes, at a certain point in the clutch, you will have to advance. But early on, for like 5 or 10 seconds, try and wait it out. See if someone is stupid enough to push. And if they are, you've just made the clutch easier for yourself. And then you can go back to methodically clearing every corner. Try and wait for aggression, and usually if it doesn't come, then I would recommend to just save the round because there's no real point.
Spike retrieved.